What's up, everyone? Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm here back continuing the Friday the 13th, the Friday-A-Thon. We're now up to Friday the 13th Part 2. Now, this one is the sequel continuing Friday the 13th franchise. This one's a million times better than Part 1. This one definitely is better, Friday the 13th. This one's better than the first one. This time it introduces, like, Jason as the killer. The first time Jason was the killer, after his mother died. The killer, Jason, he was first seen when he was going after the main character of the first film. The main character of the first film was being so reclusive, living in her home, after so much trauma that she'd been through. And then she ends up finding Mrs. Voorhees' mother in the fridge. As she opens the fridge, she sees that Mrs. Voorhees' head coming in the fridge, and then the killer sneaks up on her and stabs her in the head with the ice pick through the brain. And then the Jason ends up living in the camp as a vengeful spirit throughout the whole thing. Ends up living in the camp. And there were no recurring characters in the franchise. Like, the old man who tried to warn the camp counselors in the first movie was back, but he didn't last very long. Ends up getting killed by Jason. There are some comedic moments where a man was being such a pervert by, like, shooting a slingshot at a girl's butt while wearing booty shorts. Then one day she went skinny dipping, and then he took her clothes away, and she had forced herself to walk out of the beach naked, and then he ends up getting caught in the trap. But they later got killed by Jason as well. And also, Jason in the movie was played by none other than Warrington Gillette. And I actually met him at Retro Toy Con, and I have his autograph right here. And I have his autograph. And I'm gonna show it to you guys. And this is his autograph, and right here. This is his autograph I got. Say that he literally write to Freddy died, bitch, die. And there's a Warrington Gillette in signature, and Jason 2 right there. Yes, and as you see, this is the first time he's the first Jason to kill on screen. And Jason was played by two different actors. One actor was Steve Dash, and that was like his double. While Warrington Gillette was Jason for the majority of the movie. And the first time we saw Jason, he was wearing a sack over his head before he got the traditional hockey mask, with the iconic hockey mask that most people knew Jason today, which he's not the Jason we know and love yet. Just yet. He started off being a little boy who drowned as a child. Then he came back, and he went as a killer, came back as a killer, came back as an adult, and was now the killer in the sequel. He wore a pillowcase over his head, wore a flannel shirt with overalls, and he had a pickaxe as a weapon instead of the machete, like most people know Jason with. I mean, Jason's main weapon is a machete, but this is before he got the machete. So Jason then ends up going on a murder spree, and he kills one of the campers, and they even made one of those cliches where the kids tell campfire stories, and one of the campers decided to pull a prank by wearing a very ugly mask with a spear, and pretending to be the exaggeration of Jason. And saying that legends say that haunts the camp following his mother's murderous footsteps. And it turns out the legends were true, finding out that Jason survived. And he actually ends up killing people who dare to enter the camp. So Jason then confronts one of the last remaining survivors. And when you say, Jason, mother's listening to you, as one of the survivors puts on the sweater, pretends to be his mother, and then it shows the vision and it shows Jason's mother talking to him, a face of Jason's mother. And so Jason ends up thinking it was actually his mother talking to him, where he moves his head, tilts his head like this. So that means that knowing that he can hear, showing that his way of showing that he's hearing people. So that's how Jason can tilt his head like that. But then he got knocked out, and then one of the survivors took off his mask, and then you later find out what he looks like underneath. And when he showed his face, he jumps through a window and attacks one of the survivors, and that was only like a fantasy, like a dream. And this is what Jason looked like as he showed his face for the first time. And my God, he is actually like born deformed and ugly. And he doesn't stay like that. And he had hair in this one. And now overall, Jason, Friday the 13th Part 2 was overall one of the best of the franchise. It's far superior than Friday the 13th Part 1. And it's definitely a must watch in the franchise. So overall, it's far superior than Part 1, and it's a must watch. And especially if you're a casual horror movie watcher. And stay tuned for more. Next up, we'll be doing Friday the 13th Part 3. And that's all for now, folks. And as always, stay awesome, my Monster Masters, and I'll catch you later. Bye.